Now, we may have just found a significant solution to housing affordability with Rick Boivin as he joins us to break down exactly how pre-engineered homes come together, sourcing, manufacturing, and all the way to delivery. Okay, Rick, here's what I want you to do. I'm a 12-year-old, and I want you to explain to me how I can get my hands on a pre-engineered home, what that process is like. Can you do that?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, just like anything else, it's an educated decision about what you're going to buy. But what are the attributes of a pre-engineered and all of this language that we're talking about is that we hyper focused on those three items that we talked about earlier is about time, process. How do we solve all three? So if we can take a look at where the constraints are in building a home, if we go to a pre-engineer, which is primarily a steel structure that's designed within a certain set of uh, paradigms, it gives us a product solution for the structure of the home. And it allows us to impact the biggest part of construction, which is getting that structure up. What it does is it leaves the interior to personalize, which gives the user the sense of use and how they want to interact in
Customization.
customization in a limited role, but let's keep that cost down so that you can put your personal touch to it.
So let me make this linear for people. So I go on a website, I see, hey, I really like this home, and I click order. All I have to do is buy a piece of land
Mhm.
wherever I may want, and I can then have the pre-engineered home delivered to me, which is basically the structure of the home that keeps it sound.
Correct.
And from what I understand, it's no different than how like a manufacturing facility builds their place. Like it's not affected by an earthquake of some
Mm.
kind of magnitude, and it's quite sturdy as well. It's no different than how a home would deal with floods. Let's just
Correct.
say when that happens, you then as the user can buy your furniture, put up your drywall, insulate the place, all of that kind of stuff. Am I
Well,
understanding
the
that?
structure is going to come insulated because we're talking a full shell assembly. So that's your cladding, your roof, your gutters, your downspouts. And
Right.
the idea is to get this rapidly to site so that it can go up very quickly, leaving the interiors. Because the problem in a lot of this studying is that giving a whole package and building it in a factory and delivering there does not fix things. Like drywall and many building materials are sold at pennies on the dollar. So there are areas that don't make sense to take them to a factory than to put them on
I
expensive
see.
trucks and do that.
What is the average time it takes to build? I'm throwing you on the spot here, but
No.
like to
So
frame a house with wood. I,
a framer, probably depending on the complexity and the size of the house, could probably take maybe 2 3 weeks to maybe two
okay.
weeks to put a framed house, an
It's also
experienced
weather
crew.
dependent.
Weather dependent, but he's only one aspect. Then we need the siding guy to come in. Then we need the roofing guy to come in. Then we need the guy for gutters and downspouts. Then we need the guy who has to now insulate. All of that just to get the shell up to its point. That takes about 3 months on average. Easily, it's going to take you that. So
But
if
what about approvals? Sorry, what about approvals? So like if I want to put this home on a plot of land
yeah,
in a city, what do I say to my municipality?
well, this is where, again, as what we talked earlier about that three-part problem, the product has to solve more than that. But by using this structure, which is engineered, it means that we're building and designing standards well above the basic minimum codes. So when I go into a plans department, there's really nothing for the planning department to do. When we stick with the old system of wood and all the technical, they have to review a lot of things. Well, we're designing above those standards. So what it means is that there's really nothing to look at the structure, which allows us to focus on the interiors, which is where you're going to live, which there's very little review on. So we now can give the municipality the tools to say that this meets above our standards. Therefore, we can exit this permit very quickly within probably half an hour.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, we've got about a minute left here.
Mhm.
I'm 21 years old. I want to purchase one of these. I want to move out, but I want to own my own house.
Yeah.
How much do I have to
Good
have
goals, bud.
saved? Thank you. How much do I have to have saved? What might some of the barriers be? You've got about 45 seconds here just to
Mhm.
kind of give me some details on that.
The biggest barrier is fear. That's the biggest problem for most people.
Right.
This is a lifetime investment, and right now we're turning that language into an unachievable thing that's just forget about it. But the reality is, I think that course correction can be fixed. So what we can do is if we can create a series of simple steps that allows a person to engage in society, get a mortgage that's attainable,
Dilutes the
and
fear.
then, yeah, it takes the fear down. And then we can look at products. We just have to simplify that process a little bit. So if we can produce a home in 100 days instead of, going up to
Right.
6 months, well, we can allow people the tools to build more inventory. More inventory then means that price is going to drop.
Rick, I've got to cut you off,
Yeah.
but I want to get into some more of the mechanics
Yep.
in a little bit. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for more.